Hey guys, my name's Calvin. This is going to be my first video on YouTube, and today I thought I would start and make some gluten-free dumplings for all my gluten-free friends. So let's get started. So first we're going to start off with our dry ingredients, which is 400 grams of gluten-free all-purpose flour, 100 grams of glutinous rice flour, 250 grams of boiling hot water, 4 grams of kosher salt, and 6 grams of xanthan gum. With those ingredients, we're going to start by mixing them into a large mixing bowl with a whisk, making sure that there are no clumps left in the mixture. Now that you've mixed your dry ingredients, we're going to add in our water. I actually found that I had to add an extra about 100 grams worth of water to make my dough form. Now, once you form a dough in the bowl, you're going to take it out and put it onto a clean work surface and knead it for 5 to 10 minutes until your dough is firm but still tacky to the touch. Once you've kneaded the dough, you're going to place it back into a bowl and cover it for at least half an hour. We're going to now start on our mixture for the filling. So in a food processor, we're going to add about a handful of mushrooms. I'm using oyster mushrooms for this. And then one block of extra firm tofu, which I have broken up to smaller chunks, which helps it mix. While mixing, you're going to be looking for a crumbly texture, not too fine, but not too large of chunks of anything, making sure that your mushrooms have broken down. Next, we're going to start with the vegetables. I've decided to put baby bok choy into this mixture. Next, you're going to want to do a medium to small dice on half a large white onion. Now we're going to add the baby bok choy and onion to our mushroom and tofu mixture. Using a spatula, you just want to make sure that everything is incorporated well. Now I missed a step. Actually, you're going to want to add a tablespoon of gluten-free soy sauce and a tablespoon of sesame oil. Now that our dough is rested for half an hour, we're going to take it out of the bowl, put it onto a clean work surface, and cut that in half and form 2 large logs, and then cut into pieces to form our dumpling discs. Now you're going to flour your clean work surface with a little bit of the glutinous rice flour and take one of your dumpling dough discs and roll it out, not using too much pressure because you don't want your dough to stick to the surface or your rolling pin because it is very delicate dough. Making sure to give it a bit of a quarter turn ever so often so that way it doesn't stick to your surface. Now for my dumplings, I'm using a cookie cutter that is about 3.5 inches wide. Now you can reserve the excess dough and use it later on for extra dumplings. Once you have your dough rolled out, you're going to now take about a tablespoon worth of mixture and put it in the center of your dumpling discs. And now you're going to take a little bit of lukewarm water and wet the edge of one side of your dumpling before folding it over to form a seal. Here I had a bit too much filling in the dumpling, but don't worry about that. If a little bit of the filling falls out of the dumpling, that's fine. Just make sure that your edges are pinched together very well, otherwise they will break apart in the pan. Now you can stop there once your edges are pinched together, but I decided to do a little bit of a design. And make sure if you're going to do a design that you do it carefully, otherwise your dough might rip. On the stove, I have a medium to high heat pan. You can use whatever. I'm using a cast iron pan with about a tablespoon worth of neutral oil, whether that be canola or vegetable oil. You're going to place your dumplings into the pan and get a nice hard sear on the bottom before adding about a 3/4 cup of water into the pan. Please be careful, because once you add the water, the oil in the pan might start splattering everywhere. So you're going to want to do this carefully and very quickly, so that way you do not make a mess. I do not have a lid for my pan, so I just use another pan on top of that. After about 5 minutes on medium to high heat, I remove the lid or pan and now let the water reduce in the pan. And there you go. Perfect vegan and gluten-free dumplings with a very crunchy golden bottom